Hey, the guest is City and Chill. We got another video for today, and in this one, we're talking about the second most commonly asked question by the DC Risk Online community. The first one clearly being when's the next double XP, or what's the status on double XP week. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. But the secondly most commonly asked question is going to be regarding survival mode. When's survival mode coming back? Update about survival mode status. And I'm here to tell you the survival mode that you know can never return. The survival mode season 1, 2, and 3, even going further back, the survival mode 2014 to 2017 run. Survival mode as we know it and how it was presented to the community can never return. The game has changed so much since survival mode came out. The whole point of survival mode was to take a group, in this case 2014 2017 was a group of 8, put them in a situation where difficulty increased for a set number of rounds, and presented the highest challenge to the group. Different boss combinations, different survivability, different themes, and you had basically survive till the end. Or technically, you completed the old survival modes if it was round 10, and then you actually completed survival mode and survived it and got the survivor title with round 20, which only 3 groups did in the history of survival mode. One was CR scaled group, and then 2 were non-CR scaled. And then survival mode kind of died around for a few years. Then it came back with season 1 through the Teen Titans training battleground, and then we had season 1, season 2, and season 3. But even the amount of changes from survival mode, from the original survival modes to season 1, 2, and 3, the game changed a ton as well. And each season had its own kind of controversy. You had the basically the lunge immunity. Then you had different boss glitches in terms of like round 30 glitches where the actual additional ads and bosses that were supposed to do something but didn't, and they would glitch out. And then season 3 was such a joke that it was completed before even the US server even became live. So imagine that you're all pumped for survival mode as a North American player, and you log in, your server restarts at 9:30 Eastern in the morning, and you log on and YouTube, the Europeans already have survival mode beaten. So it's like, okay, well, what's the point? So the whole point of survival mode was to be the highest challenge in this game, because the whole reason why all elite can't be too hard, or elite plus can't be too hard, or gatekeeping, the whole point of that for survival mode was that yes, we can throw everything in the kitchen sink at you and make it difficult, because that was the point and the intention of the content. It was supposed to be difficult, so it wasn't supposed to be nerfed or toned down. Then it was it was supposed to be more accessible to players. That's why when season 1 came out, it was only a 4-person group. And then you had 30 rounds instead. So like basically round 1 through 10 was like a cakewalk for like basically event difficulty. And then same thing. And then you had 30 rounds instead of 20. And then you had season 3, which was it season 2 was 6 or season 3? I can't remember. One of them you had 6-man. They didn't want to go back to 8-man just to make it more accessible. And it became more about like rewards and like the vendor stuff like that, which old survival mode was about that too, about farming items, but it wasn't so much. You can only trade the base items. But the issue is not about the concept of survival mode, it's how the game has changed. There's so much more survivability in the game from the previous years to now, where artifacts, allies, different augment combinations, power sets combinations. It's just, we're getting to the point where it's not even about surviving anymore. It's about who's going to go in with the best equipment. And it's not even about gear. It's, you've got so many different things. You got phase dodge being the strongest, like doesn't even follow the base multiplier, and basically phase dodge can tank like over, I think it's what was like 3 or 4 million damage last survival mode it came out. Or you've got survival mode where they tune the damage so high you have to be basically kite around a gray range, just so that basically you take one hit you're gonna die. So I mean, and even that, like if you slip up and take one counter wrong or something like that, you just die because the damage is so high you can't even basically you just have to roll around. In season 1 it was about lunge spamming, and then you had basically season 3 using like firing off snowball. I don't know, was that season 2? I'm gonna mix up some, but basically whenever you're tanking Zeus, you're basically doing as an ice tank with snowballs, being basically taunting outside gray range, or basically avoiding King Shark going in and out of gray range. That's not the spirit of survival mode. But Now, if survival mode came back, it's just going to be like a repeat of season 3. It's going to be just firing through the rounds, a few hours, you've gone 1 through 30, you've already completed it, you've got the gear, now it's whatever. You're going to, sell some carries or something like that. I even think this season 3 had that many, like season 2 had a lot of carries, but I don't think season 3 even had a lot of carries for players that couldn't, because it was so easy that everyone can do it. That is not the spirit of survival mode. But you can't make a survival mode, you can't tune it unless you take into account all the artifacts, all the allies that we have available to us, which is not realistic. That's why survival mode as we know it has to disappear and never return. But that doesn't mean that it can't be substituted for something that the game has already had previously. So what you're looking at here is, in the past, back when you had kind of like a weekly kind of live stream from Jens Anderson, Meps would join as well. So they called it Friday Night Legends. It started off with like basically PvP based league kind of introductions. And then as you got going, they became PvE challenges. So originally it started off with Prime Battleground. So they basically, you fought Prime Battleground, you defeated the avatar of, tech, meta, whatever, respawned higher levels, and then you just kept going until you died. Then it moved to the PvE challenge for Nexus of Reality, which is the basis of what we need to have similarly come back. So if we look at it here, the concept was you have the Nexus of Reality final boss room, and they could always change this to a different boss themes. Like we don't have to fight just like the Luthors or whatever, or the future Batmans or villains like that. And we don't necessarily have to do that. But the concept is that all these the original 5 bosses will just keep respawning. Just indefinitely. So you kill the bosses, you wait, they respawn the next round, and they just slowly increase up into level until you just die. And that's it. That is the survival mode, where they called it just a PvE challenge. It's just going to progressively go up each level. Now, they could always mix in, I don't think it really matters if you're killing the same, like say like 3 or 4 bosses the entire time. They can mix it up 2 different themes, just like the survival mode season 1, 2, and 3. And kind of keep it theme based. But the point is, you're going to be fighting the same thing over and over again until the point where you just die and you wipe. And then whatever round you reach, that's going to be indicated on a ranking. Very simple and easy to track. Oh, you made it to round, basically their CR is going to increase each time. So you made it to CR 220, you made it to CR 400, you made it to CR 500, you made it to CR 800. Very easy tracking in terms of community rankings. You could easily separate it by regions again. Also, very easy to see if it's going to be speed hacker based. If you got one group like well above everyone else, it's easy to check a few of their rounds and see if they were speed hacked. It's not be plain as day, but checking logs. But this is the concept of what we need to come back. Now, it wasn't like a queued up event. Like this is even something could be survival mode where this comes back every few weeks, kind of like not so much save the universe, but every few weeks, maybe every couple of quarters, this comes back for a couple of weeks just as a break where we have this continually here and go up the rankings. So at the same time, you would have an advantage over when a new episode released, because obviously you'd have stronger gear, you might have a new artifact or 2, new allies or 2. So obviously, whenever new gear releases, then yes, that's going to skew the rankings in terms of the previous PvE challenges. But that's why you need something like this to always be recurring and coming back. It'd be easy enough if you wanted to set it as a 4 group, as a 6 group, as an 8 group. Very easy to do. The bosses we already know. The advantage of fighting the same thing over and over again is that you're going to develop mechanic strategies. Nexus of Reality presents a room where it's completely open. There's no like objects or collision to worry about or anything like that, or to cheese or anything like that. So, Nexus of Reality room presents a kind of perfect battle arena, you could say, for that. But you could always use different maps as well. But, this is something that it should be easy enough to implement from a developer perspective, because it's just a queued up instance. You defeat them, just goes up and up and up and up until a point where you die, and then basically just saves your last round, or your group member would save it. So Obsidian Chill reached rank 400 or level 400. It'd be easy enough to have a searchable rankings for that, but it's something that I think everyone can get behind in terms of the community. This challenge ran itself. I think Nexus of Reality started around 40, around 43, 45 FNL, and then it ran all the way up until 79. where FNL just in general just stopped. But this type of instance where it's basically, I mean, I'm sure other games have it too, like a horde mode or something like that, where it's just the same thing, just increasing in levels. But that's what we need in terms of survival mode, because in this type of content, it doesn't matter what artifacts you have, doesn't matter what allies you have, whatever OP combination you want to use, whatever power set combination, whatever art swapping you want to use, doesn't matter. Go for it. That's the point of this content. It's not about what kind of survival mode cheese you could do or whatever. It's just your group in terms of how high that you can get in terms of your level, to the point where it's just going to be too difficult and you're just going to end up dying or wiping. You could make checkpoints if you wanted to, where you could get certain progress. That's fine as well. I mean, I'm not opposed to checkpoints, because obviously not everyone's going to have 6 hours, whatever they want to designate to this type of survival mode event. But don't even have to call it survival mode. It could be just a PvE challenge, just like before. They could have rotating maps. There's so many different aspects of it, and it became, this creativity was the last one that ran it, and you've got that feeling where you're fighting it. It's going to give you the same type of accomplishment that you had with survival mode, but rather than, because survival mode, great, this group beat round 30 or this group beat round 20. I mean, that's it. Even if you're good enough to go further, I mean, it's nothing separates. Just everyone's on the same level. Where this one, you could clearly see, okay, this group got this level. There's a clearly that competitiveness where you could separate yourself from other groups or group combinations or take players in, whatever. This type of way with the PvE challenge would be easily translatable to what the same feeling was for survival mode. So this is what I really feel like the game should take in terms of the next steps for survival mode, because obviously we need it. So elite content's getting easier. Elite Plus is getting easier. It's not like the source wall Elite Plus that we were used to. They need something to, and we can't make, the way the community structured is now, you can't just make Elite Plus well overtuned. You can't make Elite well overtuned because the community's just not ready for it. That's why we need content like this that's separate, where we can still have a decent difficulty in Elite, a decent difficulty in Elite Plus, but at the same time, that's still going to be up to the developers to be able to make that, or engaging mechanics, which they don't always do. But in a PvE challenge scenario like this, doesn't matter. It's you yourself against whatever boss combination, and then you just go until you die. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I really feel like this is what we need. This is the direction we need to take. I know a lot of people aren't as familiar with Friday Night Legends because it was about 9-10 years ago where this started. But this is the type of content that we need going forward to bring us, or to that that type of survival mode accomplishment that we had previously to now. So take care, guys. We'll see you next video.